Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us. One of our absolute favorite places to go when we are gone to Florida is Seuss Landing at Universal's Islands of Adventure. Join us as we take a leisurely walk around the land, learn about its history, and read two of my favorite Dr. Seuss books, Oh, the Places You'll Go, and Did I Ever Tell You How Lucky You Are? Welcome to Seuss Landing at Universal Orlando Resort's Islands of Adventure. From the moment you enter, you will be greeted with bright colors and whimsical designs that are sure to put even the biggest Grinch in a good mood. Seuss Landing opened with Islands of Adventure in 1999 and has been a staple of the park ever since. It is full of character meet and greets, sweet treats, good food, and 4 magical rides. But you won't see any straight lines in Seuss Landing to keep the theme of Dr. Seuss's magical creations. You'll see Zach's Bypass, one of the very first things ever built in the entire park, to mimic the story of the two Zachs determined to never move out of each other's way. There are also plenty of quiet places where you could stop and relax while taking in breathtaking views of the park. One of my favorite rides, the High in the Sky Seuss Trolley Train Ride, allows you to ride a slow-moving train atop the land while listening to Dr. Seuss stories and taking in 360-degree views of the entire Islands of Adventure park. Seuss Landing is perfect for young children, but a nostalgic and comforting place for adults as well. So sit back and relax as we pay tribute to Dr. Seuss with two of my favorite Dr. Seuss books. Did I Ever Tell You How Lucky You Are? By Dr. Seuss. When I was quite young and quite small for my size, I met an old man in the desert of Dries, and he sang me a song I will never forget. At least, well, I haven't forgotten it yet. He sat in a terribly prickly place, but he sang with a sunny, sweet smile on his face. When you think things are bad, when you feel sour and blue, when you start to get mad, you should do what I do. Just tell yourself, Ducky, you're really quite lucky. Some people are much more, oh, ever so much more, oh, much more unlucky than you. Be glad you don't work on the Bungle Bun Bridge that they're building across Boober Bay at Bum Ridge. It's a troublesome world. All the people who are in it are troubled with troubles almost every minute. You ought to be thankful a whole heaping lot for the people and places you're lucky you're not. Just suppose, for example, you lived in Gazette and got caught in that traffic on Zate Highway 8. Or suppose, just for instance, you lived in Gazer with your bedroom up here and your bathroom up there. Suppose, just suppose, you were poor Herbie Hart, who has taken his thrombobulator apart. He never will get it together, I'm sure. He never will know if the gick or the gore fits into the scrux or the snucks and the snore. Yes, Ducky, you're lucky you're not Herbie Hart, who has taken his thrombobulator apart. Think they work you too hard? Think of poor Allie Sard. He has to mow grass in his uncle's backyard, and it's quick-growing grass, and it grows as he mows it. The faster he mows it, the faster he grows it. And all his stingy old uncle will pay for his shoving that mower around in that hay is the piffless pay of 2 duklas a day. And Allie can't live on such piffless pay. So he has to paint flagpoles on Sundays and grooves. How lucky you are you don't live in his shoes. And poor Mr. Bix, every morning at 6, poor Mr. Bix has his borfin to fix. It doesn't seem fair, it just doesn't seem right. But his borfin just seems to go slump every night. It slumps in a heap, sadly needing repair. Bix figures it's due to the local night air. It takes him all day to unslump it, and then the night hair comes back, and it slumps once again. So don't you feel blue, don't get down in the dumps. You're lucky you don't have a borfin that slumps. And while we are at it, consider the slotch, the crumple-horn, web-footed, green-bearded slots, whose tail is entangled with unsolvable knots. If he isn't muchly more worse off than you, I'll eat my umbrella, that's just what I'll do. And you're lucky indeed, you don't ride on a camel. To ride on a camel, you sit on a whammel. A whammel, you know, is a sort of a saddle, held on by a button that's known as a faddle. And boy, if your old whammel faddle gets loose, I'm telling you, ducky, you're gone like a goose. And poor Mr. Potter, T-crosser-eyed daughter, he has to cross T's and he has to dot I's in an I&T factory out in Van Nuys. Oh, the jobs people work out west near Hotch Hotch. There's a Hotch Hotcher bee watcher. His job is to watch, is to keep both eyes on the lazy town bee. A bee that is watched will work harder, you see. Well, he watched and he watched, but in spite of his watch, that bee didn't work any harder, not much. So then somebody said, our old bee-watching man just isn't bee-watching as hard as he can. He ought to be watched by another Hotch Hotcher. The thing we need now is a bee-watcher. Well, the bee-watcher watched the bee-watcher. He didn't watch well, so another Hotch Hotcher had to come in as a watcher. And today, all the Hotchers who live in Hotch Hotch are watching on watching watching the watcher who's watching that bee. You're not a Hotch Watcher. You're lucky, you see. And how fortunate you're not Professor DeBreeze, who has spent the past 32 years, if you please, trying to teach Irish ducks how to read Javanese. And think of the poor puffing Pugelhorn players who have to parade down the Pugelhorn stairs every morning to wake up the Prince of Puboken. It's awful how often their pugils get broken. And oh, just suppose you were poor Harry Hatto. Try as he will, he can't make any shadow. He thinks that perhaps something's wrong with his giz, and I think that by golly there probably is. And the brothers Bazoo, the poor brothers Bazoo, suppose your hair grew like theirs happened to do. I'm telling you, ducky, some people are muchly, oh, ever so muchly, much more unlucky than you. And suppose that you lived in that forest in France, where the average young person just hasn't a chance to escape from the perilous pants-eating plants. But your pants are safe, you're a fortunate guy, and you ought to be shouting, how lucky am I. And speaking of plants, you should be greatly gladdish. You're not Farmer Fangelberg's 17th radish. And you're so lucky you're not Gucky Gown, who lives by himself 90 miles out of town in the ruins of Runk. Runk is rather run down. And you're so lucky you're not a left sock left behind by mistake in the caverns of Croc. Thank goodness for all of the things you are not. Thank goodness you're not something someone forgot and left all alone in some punkerish place like a rusty tin coat hanger hanging in space. That's why I say, ducky, don't grumble, don't stew. Some critters are much, oh, ever so much, so muchly, much more unlucky than you. Oh, the Places You'll Go by Dr. Seuss. Congratulations, today is your day. You're off to great places, you're off and away. You have brains in your head, you have feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself any direction you choose. You're on your own and you know what you know, and you are the guy who'll decide where you go. You'll look up and down streets, look 'em over with care. About some you will say, I don't choose to go there. With your head full of brains and your shoes full of feet, you're too smart to go down any not-so-good street. And you may not find any you'll want to go down. In that case, of course, you'll head straight out of town. It's opener there in the wide open air. Out there things can happen and frequently do to people as brainy and footsy as you. And then things start to happen. Don't worry, don't stew. Just go right along. You'll start happening too. Oh, the places you'll go. You'll be on your way up. You'll be seeing great sights. You'll join the high flyers who soar to high heights. You won't lag behind because you'll have the speed. You'll pass the whole gang and you'll soon take the lead. Wherever you fly, you'll be best of the best. Wherever you go, you will top all the rest. Except when you don't, because sometimes you won't. I'm sorry to say, but sadly it's true that bang-ups and hang-ups can happen to you. You can get hung up in a prickly perch, and your gang will fly on. You'll be left in a lurch. You'll come down from the lurch with an unpleasant bump, and the chances are then that you'll be in a slump. And when you're in a slump, you're not in for much fun. Unslumping yourself is not easily done. You will come to a place where the streets are not marked. Some windows are lighted, but mostly they're dark. A place you could sprain both your elbow and shin. Do you dare to stay out? Do you dare to go in? How much can you lose? How much can you win? And if you go in, should you turn left or right 3/4, or maybe not quite, or go around back and sneak in from behind? simple it's not, I'm afraid you will find, for a mind-maker-upper to make up his mind. You can get so confused that you'll start in to race down long wiggled roads at a breaknecking pace, and grind on for miles across weirdish wild space, headed, I fear, toward a most useless place, the waiting place, for people just waiting for a train to go, or a bus to come, or a plane to go, or the mail to come, or the rain to go, or the phone to ring, or the snow to snow, or waiting around for a yes or no, or waiting for their hair to grow. Everyone is just waiting for the fish to bite, or waiting for the wind to fly a kite, or waiting around for Friday night, or waiting perhaps for their Uncle Jake, or a pot to boil, or a better break, or a string of pearls, or a pair of pants, or a wig with curls, or another chance. Everyone is just waiting. No, that's not for you. Somehow you'll escape all that waiting and staying. You'll find the bright places where boom bands are playing. With banner flip-flapping once more you'll ride high, ready for anything under the sky. Ready? 'Cause you're that kind of guy. Oh, the places you'll go, there is fun to be done. There are points to be scored. There are games to be won. And the magical things you can do with that ball will make you the winningest winner of all. Fame, you'll be famous as famous can be, with the whole wide world watching you win on TV. Except when they don't, because sometimes they won't. I'm afraid that sometimes you'll play lonely games too. Games you can't win because you'll play against you. All alone, whether you like it or not. Alone will be something you'll be quite a lot. And when you're alone, there's a very good chance you'll meet things that scare you right out of your pants. There are some down the road between hither and yon that can scare you so much you won't want to go on. But on you will go, though the weather be foul. On you will go, though your enemies prowl. On you will go, though the hack and cracks howl. Onward up many a frightening creek, though your arms may get sore and your sneakers may leak. On and on you will hike, and I know you'll hike far, and face up to your problems, whatever they are. You'll get mixed up, of course, as you already know. You'll get mixed up with many strange birds as you go. So be sure when you step with care and great tact, and remember that life's a great balancing act. Just never forget to be dexterous and deft, and never mix up your right foot with your left. And will you succeed? Yes, you will indeed. 98 3/4% guaranteed. Kid, you'll move mountains. So, be your name Buxbaum or Bixby or Bray or Mordecai Allen Van Allen O'Shea. You're off to great places. Today is your day. Your mountain is waiting, so get on your way. You can find these books along with many other Dr. Seuss books in one of the many gift shops in Seuss Landing. There's also a lot of other merchandise, including clothing, cups, lanyards, pens, things for both kids and adults. It's especially beautiful at Christmas time when all of the colorful lights are out. And at nighttime, it's even better. That's my favorite time to ride the Seuss trolley train ride. Sometimes the lines can get long at night, but it's good any time of day. There's also an assortment of sweet treats that you can find in the Hop on Pop shop. There's the Moose Goose Juice Goose. And of course, one of our favorites, the Green Eggs and Ham Tot Stand. There's all kinds of tots that are offered, including pizza tots, buffalo chicken tots, and the original Who Hash and Green Eggs and Ham. There's definitely something for everybody in Seuss Landing. Thank you so much for letting us be part of your day. We hope to share many more of our Gone to Florida adventures with you. Please like and subscribe to be notified of all of our Floridian adventures. And remember, never stop exploring.